Uber burned $33 billion, faced bans across the world, and its own CEO was forced out. It should have died. Instead, it became the world's dominant transportation platform. It started on a cold night in Paris, December 2008. Two American engineers stood on a street corner, rain soaking through their coats. No taxi in sight, no way to call one. Just the helpless frustration of needing to move and having no way to make it happen. That moment, felt by millions in cities worldwide every single day, would spark an idea that consumed billions in investor capital. Governments tried to shut it down. Competitors tried to bury it. Its own culture nearly tore it apart from the inside. But by Q3 2025, it was generating $49.7 billion in quarterly bookings, 26 million trips per day. Or how did a company that broke so many rules end up winning anyway? The answer starts on that rain-soaked Paris street. And the darker story hiding behind every ride you've ever taken. Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick needed a taxi that night. They couldn't find one. And the frustration wasn't just inconvenience. It was a system that hadn't evolved in decades. Dispatchers who didn't answer, drivers who refused destinations, cash-only payments, zero accountability. So they imagined something different. A smartphone app, one tap. A car comes to you. No phone calls, no uncertainty, no cash. Just GPS tracking, automatic payment, and a 5-star rating system. It wasn't revolutionary technology. It was a better experience. In 2009, they incorporated as UberCab in San Francisco. Kalanick brought one personal philosophy that would define everything. Always be hustling. That phrase built an empire, then nearly destroyed it. But before the empire came the first fight. October 2010, a government letter arrives. The order, stop operating immediately. For most startups, this is the end. But Kalanick did something radical. He rebranded from UberCab to Uber and made a legal argument that changed everything. Uber was not a transportation company. It was a technology platform, connecting riders with independent contractor drivers. The drivers bore regulatory responsibility, not Uber. One legal distinction, that's all it took. It allowed Uber to launch in hundreds of cities without asking permission. The same argument that made explosive growth possible was also the source of every regulatory battle and labor accusation for the next 15 years. It was the key that unlocked the world, and the match that lit every fire. And then, the real explosion began. July 2012. Uber launched UberX. Now anyone with a car could become a driver. No taxi medallion, no special training. Just download the app. But that growth needed fuel. Over $20 billion in venture capital before going public, 2,300 times more funding than Amazon ever needed. Almost all of it went toward one purpose, making rides so cheap that no competitor could survive. Uber wasn't winning on efficiency. It was winning because it could lose more money than anyone else. Taxi drivers didn't lose because their service was worse. And they lost because they couldn't fight a war funded by billionaires. Some had spent their entire life savings, $200,000, $300,000, on taxi medallions that became worthless almost overnight. Uber launched in dozens of countries at once, ignoring local laws completely. London, Paris, China, all simultaneously. In London, black cab drivers protested. In France, Uber executives faced criminal prosecution. But China was the bloodbath. Uber spent hundreds of millions per quarter fighting Didi Chuxing. In August 2016, Uber surrendered, sold its Chinese operations, walked away. Billions spent. Market gone. Some battles can't be won with money alone. And then, everything got worse. Because while these external wars raged, something far more dangerous was growing inside. February 2017. Former engineer Susan Fowler published a blog post describing systemic sexual harassment and managerial misconduct at Uber. HR had ignored complaints because offenders were high performers. The post went viral within hours. Uber hired former Attorney General Eric Holder to investigate. His report demanded sweeping reforms. The findings were devastating. A culture where winning justified everything, including protecting predators. Then came the hashtag, #DeleteUber. After Uber appeared to break a taxi strike at JFK Airport, 200,000 users deleted the app in a single weekend, the largest customer defection in tech history. But that still wasn't the worst of it. Google's Waymo sued Uber for stealing 14,000 trade secret files. Then reporters uncovered Greyball, a secret internal program where Uber built software specifically designed to trick police officers. It showed undercover cops fake versions of the app, ghost cars, rides that would accept and cancel before officers could get in. Uber wasn't just breaking rules, it was building technology to make the rules unenforceable. The Department of Justice launched a criminal investigation. Meanwhile, Uber paid $148 million to settle a hidden data breach affecting 57 million users. Instead of reporting it, they'd paid the hackers $100,000 to stay quiet. This is where it almost collapsed. Inside the boardroom, investors reached a painful conclusion. The man who built this company was now the greatest threat to its survival. On June 20th, 2017, his own investors forced him out. He wasn't removed because he failed. He was removed because his version of success was destroying the company from inside. Dara Khosrowshahi was appointed CEO in August 2017, or he inherited a company burning $1 billion per quarter. Facing bans in dozens of markets, employee morale shattered. He sold the self-driving division after it consumed $2.5 billion. He rebuilt relationships with regulators Kalanick had alienated, settled the Waymo lawsuit, publicly apologized for mistakes his predecessor never acknowledged. California's AB 5 law would have forced Uber to classify drivers as employees. Uber's response was the most expensive political campaign in California history. $220 million on Proposition 22. Uber's profitability depends on drivers not being employees. The same legal fiction from 2010 is still holding the business together and shifting the cost of healthcare onto the people doing the actual work. And yet, the numbers don't lie. In 2023, Wizit posted $1.9 billion in net profit. Q3 2025 delivered $49.7 billion in gross bookings and $2.3 billion in EBITDA. Then came the symbolic moment. Uber bought Dan Taxi, Denmark's largest taxi operator. Uber didn't rebuild transportation by being right. It rebuilt it by being relentless. The rain has stopped in Paris. The street where two engineers once stood helpless now has cars arriving in under 4 minutes. The taxi industry they disrupted will never recover. The drivers who power their platform still lack benefits. The investors who believed got their returns. If this changed how you see the app, hit subscribe. Now tell me, was it worth it? Drop your answer in the comments.